It is Victory Monday, Browns fans, and you know it is because I have half a voice. But if you enjoyed yesterday's win, go out and celebrate a little bit online, right? Soak up all the good mojo out there surrounding the Browns. But big game coming up this upcoming week against the Baltimore Ravens. I don't want to just beat them on the field. I want to take down our Ravens channel here at Chat Sports. Help me do that. Let's beat them in our subscriber race for this week. Welcome on into the 5-3 Cleveland Browns report. We're going to break down this win yesterday, talk about Deshaun Watson, this offense, and whether or not it is a legit offense, or hey, you played the 1-7 Cardinals. You should score 27 points on them. But before we get to all that, we do have to recap the latest injury news, as we got some good but also not great injury news involving Jedrick Wills, who was carted off, looked visibly upset when he was on the cart yesterday. Unfortunately, it is not a season-ending ACL injury. Kevin Stefanski told the media today on Zoom that Jed Wills is going to go to IR, but it's not a season-ending injury. It is an MCL high-grade sprain. So, thankfully, it's not a season-ending injury. But on the other half, I don't want people to come away from that going, oh, Jed Wills is a hunky-dory guy. We're ready to roll. No, as Tom Pelissero points out here, he suffered a high-grade MCL sprain, a low-grade PCL sprain, and bone bruises on Sunday. So he's on IR right now, which means he's going to be out at least the next 4 weeks. But as Pelissero points out, it could be around a 6-week recovery, which at November 6th right now, we're talking about returning around week 15, week 16, somewhere in that stretch. So hopefully he can help make the Browns a little bit more, fluid offensively going into the playoffs. Fingers crossed they're at that point. But losing Jed Wills, like a bit of a, mixed emotions here, because on one hand, we were all asking for the Browns to replace Jed Wills a few weeks ago, right? We were all begging for a Garrett Bowles trade or the Browns to move on from him. But he heard the complaints and he heard the criticism and he responded well. Like, look at what he's done the last 3 games. PFF overall grade, way up. Pass blocking grade, up. Pressures allowed, sacks allowed, penalties, all down. So he has taken a turn for the better the last 3 weeks. So it's definitely a bummer that we're not going to have him for the next few weeks as he's playing some of his best ball this year. But next man up mentality, right? That's what Kevin Stefanski said. So that brings us to James Hudson, the guy who replaced him after he was injured yesterday. A little background on Hudson if you're not familiar. 4th-round pick out of Cincinnati by the Browns in 2021. He only has 36 career snaps at left tackle compared to 582 at right tackle. So as this team's swing tackle ever since he got drafted, he has done a good job of filling in wherever needed, but that has usually been on the right side of the offensive line. He's got 7 career starts, so it won't be a fish out of water moment for him, but the reality is he's got a lot more experience at right tackle. The Browns are going to ask him to fill in for Deshaun Watson's blind side. That is not something to just take lightly and kind of gloss over. The Browns simply don't have time to waste, right? We are in week 10 now. They have to either roll with Hudson for not the next 4 weeks, I think closer to 5 or 6 weeks, commit to him, or go sign someone now. But what I don't want to see happen is stick with James Hudson for 3 games, find out after 3 games that he is not the guy at left tackle for the short term until Jed Wills can return. Deshaun Watson gets slaughtered in those 3 games, and then they go sign another tackle, a free agent like Taylor Lewan or Lael Collins, have him come in and go, do you mind stepping in for a quick pinch here, 2 to 3 weeks? No. If you want to go get a new left tackle, go sign someone today. That way they can get up to speed as soon as possible and they can play some good football for 6 weeks. Not bad 3 weeks of James Hudson and then mediocre 2 to 3 weeks of Taylor Lewan, who needs a little bit more time ramping up before he gets into NFL game speed. Now, I've had a couple of people ask, hey, what about a practice squad addition? They did add a offensive lineman to the practice squad, Garyon Christian, last week, but they also have Alex Leatherwood, a name of note. 1st-round pick by the Raiders back in 2021. So if you're looking for someone who's got the big name factor to him, it's Leatherwood. But on the other hand, Alex Leatherwood, he sucks. So that's probably not who you want starting at left tackle, right? That's who you want maybe filling in at guard, but I don't think you're going to see the Browns add Alex Leatherwood to the starting lineup. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, a quick word from our friends over at Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. If you're trying to catch an upcoming Browns game, or you want to see a concert or another sporting event in your area, Game Time is the place to visit first. Now, personally, what I love about Game Time is you can pull off a spur-of-the-moment boys trip if you guys decide, you know what, tickets are kind of cheap for this upcoming Browns game. Let's pull the trigger on these bad boys. With Game Time, you can do that without breaking the bank. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Download the Game Time app and then enter the promo code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but once again, create an account, redeem the code BROWNSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So more on the offensive line before we talk about Deshaun Watson. Zach Jackson tweeted this out during the presser from Stefanski today, and I thought it was a pretty good nugget to add to the conversation. Stefanski says, we have options at left tackle, but for strategy reasons, won't discuss any possible shifting of positions. Says Hudson is next guy up. Hudson played both left tackle and right tackle during yesterday's game. So when we look at the updated depth chart, I think James Hudson, if there was a game tomorrow, would be your starting left tackle. But the Browns do have a few days to kind of put together what they think is the best starting 5. And I wonder if that's what Stefanski was hinting at, right? Not the most logical starting 5 of next man up mentality, but what if you reshuffle some pieces to get your favorite 5 offensive linemen on the field? What could that look like? This is a bit of a reach, but what if they kicked Bitonio to left tackle, put Nick Harris, our favorite fullback, at left guard, Ethan Posick, Wyatt Teller, and DeJuan Jones all stay at their usual spots, right? If the Browns feel like Nick Harris is better at guard than James Hudson would be at left tackle, and Bitonio can play both, maybe that's a move they make. I'm definitely grasping for straws here, but I think there is something to Stefanski talking about what we have options, right? Well, what are those options? Well, you have one of the best guards in football in Bitonio, who could probably play any position if needed for a couple of weeks. So let me know if you think the Browns should go out and sign a tackle. Do you have faith and trust in James Hudson filling in at left tackle? Or would you like to see the Browns go out and bring someone in like Taylor Lewan, who's got a lot of NFL experience at left tackle? Shifting gears, let's talk about yesterday's game for a little bit here. I just want to remind everyone, the Arizona Cardinals only had 58 yards. They crossed the 50 twice, and one of those was on 4th down where they got to the 44 but turned it over on downs. So the Cleveland Browns now have held their opponents to the 3rd lowest yard total in the entire NFL season. The Bengals game, this game, the Bengals game, and the Titans game, top 3 all belong to the Browns defense. So let's talk a little bit more about the defense, but how about Deshaun Watson for a second, who I would say had his second best start as a Cleveland Brown, 19 for 30. No doubt a bit of a choppy start. The accuracy issues were very real, but then we saw him settle in the second half. 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, linking up with his main man, Amari Cooper, numerous times. In fact, when you look at Deshaun Watson's stats over the last 2 full games, take out that 12-snap performance against the Colts and just go to yesterday and then the Titans game, 73% completion percentage, 508 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Yesterday, we saw 2 very important things for Deshaun Watson coming out of this shoulder injury. We saw the deep ball yesterday, which came with velocity and accuracy. I was worried about the velocity, right? Would he have the zip? Would he have the ability to get everything into his passes so that he didn't leave anything short, which we saw him do against the Colts, especially on that 1 interception. So not only did we see the velocity, but the accuracy. He dropped balls into buckets all over the field. That huge bomb to Amari Cooper to set him up at the goal line. Another big play to Amari Cooper. Then there are some plays that just don't really get noticed. But next time you're watching Deshaun Watson, I know that all of us are kind of used to the quarterback not being so athletic and extending plays and navigating the pocket as much as Watson does. But next time you're watching, just watch how Watson sometimes will float up in the pocket, kind of step to the right a little bit, and then just fling a ball to Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, David Njoku across the field for about a 15-yard gain. That might look a little mundane, elementary, routine, but then look and see how he layers it between the linebacker and the cornerback, and it's got so much velocity on the pass that the cornerback can't run up and just jump off an easy pick. So Watson, he checked both boxes for me yesterday, velocity and accuracy. And now the question becomes, we know what this Browns defense is capable of. We know what special teams is capable of. If you get Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper and this offense humming going into the second half of the year, they are without a doubt a team to contend in the AFC, a team to watch, a team that can go the distance. Amari Cooper's playing some of his best ball lately. Look at what his numbers are over the last 2 weeks. 11 grabs, 228 yards, and 1 touchdown. He's a big play machine. He's not going anywhere. This offense is starting to get into a rhythm. This offense is starting to look like what we all were sold on and prescribed to and subscribed to a few months ago going into the year. Now, the Browns' upcoming schedule has some tough games in it, no doubt about it. They got the Ravens and the Steelers the next 2 weeks. AFC North games, it's going to be a bloodbath. But you got the Broncos and the Rams after that, 2 teams below 500. Come back home and play the Jags. Then you play the Bears, another hopeful easy win. Then the Texans, who, don't tell producer Jeremy, are looking pretty good right now. Then you have the Jets on Thursday Night Football. And then you got the season finisher over in Cincinnati. And that ranks the 11th most difficult strength of schedule moving forward. Do you want to guess, Jeremy, who's number 1 and who's number 2 in terms of remaining strength of schedule? I'm going to put the producer on the spot here.
In the AFC?
In the NFL.
In the NFL, I would guess both out of the AFC North. I would go Ravens and Browns.
Ravens, Bengals are 1 and 2 for remaining strength of schedule. So the division right now is not looking easy, right? This has been the most talked about stat online for the last 24 hours, that all 4 AFC North teams would make the playoffs if the playoffs started today. All 4 teams are not just above 500. The Bengals at the worst spot are 2 games above 500. So if the Browns were to fall to the Ravens this week, they would go to 5-4 and find themselves in the cellar of the AFC North. Not many other divisions would have you 5-4. In fact, no other division, I think, would have you 5-4 and in last place of your own division. Yeah, first in the AFC South. No, the Jags are there. Now, as for the ESPN playoff odds, watch for this to start really ramping up. We're not officially in the hunt graphic just yet on TV, but we're definitely in playoff percentage odds from ESPN. Ravens 96.1. Browns have the second best odds, 54.6, followed by the Bengals and then the Steelers. I have no fear of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They suck. Kenny Pickett sucks. And here's the thing. They deep down, it's not even all that deep too. We're talking about like as deep as sandcastles go on the beach. That's how surface level it is for them. They know they suck. But let me know, will the Browns make the playoffs? Yes or no? Chime in for me down in the comment section as to whether or not you think the Cleveland Browns at 5-3 are poised to go on a good playoff run the rest of the season. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to sign off. We're going to catch up later and let you guys enjoy the rest of your Victory Monday.